Okay.
Mr. President, thank you for the opportunity to talk with you.
Thank you.
I want to talk a little bit about Rob Portman, the senator from here in Ohio, the possibility that he might end up on the ticket with Mitt Romney. What would that do to your campaign strategy here in Ohio?
You know, I have to say I don't speculate too much on other people's VP choices. You know, I know it's a good parlor game for politics and pundits, but I think ultimately what the people of Ohio are going to look at is the two candidates at the top of the ticket. And what are their visions for rebuilding a strong middle class? And Mr. Romney has a particular vision of how to do that. He thinks that if we slash taxes by $5 trillion, most of those taxes breaks going to folks like me who don't need them, that somehow that's going to make the economy better. And I've got a vision that says if we invest in our education system, if we make sure that college is affordable, if we're rebuilding our roads and our bridges, if we're ending tax breaks for companies that are shipping jobs overseas and provide tax incentives for companies to invest here in the United States, especially around advanced manufacturing and things like renewable energy, then that's historically how we've built the economy. And you know, I think that's going to be on the minds of most Ohioans when they go to the polls in November.
You were in Cincinnati not long ago, standing in front of the Brent Spence Bridge, talking about the need for infrastructure upgrades and that sort of thing to that bridge. It's been pretty quiet since then, and so what can you tell the people of the Cincinnati region about where that project stands and if there's still a commitment to it on the part of your administration moving forward, the replacement of that bridge?
Well, here's the good news is Congress finally did what they should have done a year ago or maybe even 2 years ago. They actually passed a transportation bill that assures we don't actually have to lay off workers who are already on the job. Now that's progress, but it's not as much progress as we need to make. So what I've said to Congress is, let's not just stop there. We still have tens of thousands of construction workers who are out of work, and that bridge in Cincinnati is a perfect example of something that needs to get done. You know, families crossing the river don't want to be putting their families at risk. They don't want delays because a piece of it crumbles and suddenly they've got to ride around and add an extra hour to their commute. And so my jobs plan pushes Congress to bring forward some additional transportation money so we can get projects like that done, and hopefully Speaker Boehner, since he presumably visits his home district once in a while, will look at that bridge and say that's a piece of work that needs to get done.
Hamilton County was fairly significant, a victory for you in 2008. How important is it for you in 2010? What's your strategy there? 2012, I should say, and what's your strategy?
I think it's very important. I think Ohio is important. And what I want to just make sure every voter understands is what is at stake and what the choice is. You know, when I think about my own life, the only reason I'm standing here talking to you is because, you know, my grandparents benefited from the GI Bill and FHA home loans for their first home. My single mom was able to raise 2 kids because we were able to get grants and scholarships, and so was she, to get an education. The idea that if you work hard, you should be able to get ahead. And I think the way to do that is not by having government solve every problem, but by having the government at least make some basic investments, providing people tools so they can succeed, and to make sure hard work pays off. And Mr. Romney's vision is that if somehow everybody at the top's doing well, all that trickles down. And you know, there's some people who may agree with Mr. Romney, they should vote for him. But I think when you look at the history of our country and how we've succeeded, ultimately that's because together we made some common decisions that made this country stronger and built our middle class. And if people agree with me on that, I hope I get their vote in November.
How likely are we to see you there?
Well, I try to get to every corner of Ohio before this thing's done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Mr. President, thank you.
Appreciate you.
All right.
All right.